If minimum wage really helps the poor, why not raise it to $50 an hour or $100 an hour? Are you really that greedy and don't want poor people to get out of poverty quicker? What you are really doing by supporting the increase in minimum wage is assuring that people with skills not sufficient to justify that wage will be unemployed. The minimum wage should be properly defined as a law that says employers must discriminate against people who have low skills. Let's say a man with a skill set that justifies $8 an hour asks you for a job. You cannot legally hire him. You must pay him $14 to $16 an hour if you live in California. Paying that man $16 an hour would be the equivalent of engaging in charity, and there might be nothing wrong with that, but most employers are not in the position to do so. In 2020, only 1.1 million people in the United States were receiving the federal minimum wage. That is less than 0.5% of the US population, and most of them are teenagers and part-time workers. So, why do we have the minimum wage laws? Who do you suppose testifies in favor of minimum wage? Do you suppose it is the representatives of the poor people? The major groups that testify for it are the large organizations of trade unions. There is hardly a member of their unions that works for anything remotely close to the minimum wage. They are in favor of it for a different reason. It protects their privileged members from competition of the lower skilled people. The interests of trade unions are very concentrated and politically powerful, while the interests of the poor who are unemployed are very diluted. And by using this emotional language of helping the poor, trade unions get well-meaning people to support their special interests, and you, the listener, might be one of them until watching this video. Remember, when unions get higher wages for their members, those higher wages are at the expense of other workers who find their opportunities reduced. When the government pays higher wages to their employees, those wages are at the expense of the taxpayer. But when workers get higher wages through the free market, where firms compete for the best worker and workers compete for the best jobs, those higher wages are at nobody's expense. They can only come from higher productivity, greater capital investment, and better skills. Everyone benefits: workers, employers, and consumers. Over and over, we can observe trends in government programs that are labeled as helping the poor and needy that almost always have the opposite effects and are actually harming the groups they were intended to help. Minimum wage laws increase unemployment and poverty. I hope you are having a nice day. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. And as Thomas Sowell said, the real minimum wage is $0.